So welcome to episode 5 of the Pow Wow Lounge. I am your host, Michael Michelle, and today I have a very special guest with me. Now, I must admit, before we get started, I'm going to give you a rundown on exactly who she is, because this is going to be my very first interview today.
Hey.
So we're just trying new things out while the podcast is in its infancy. So I'm excited about this. All right. So my guest today is someone that I've known since middle school with incredible artistic talent. Back in the day, she would often dazzle us in the classroom or the lunchroom, wherever, with her drawing capabilities as we watched her recreate our favorite cartoon characters and celebrities. In between all of that, she somehow found time to create her own stories and characters. While in college, she took a chance and applied for an internship with Nickelodeon, and she got it. During this internship, she would learn the ins and outs of animation at a large scale. Despite receiving recognition from a corporation as large as Nickelodeon, there was a time after the internship when she wasn't sure about her future. However, in 2020, luck would strike when a literary agent by the name of Jamisco Chambers Black discovered her art on Instagram. This discovery would lead her to later sign with the Andrea Brown Literary Agency Incorporated. To date, she has illustrated 7 children's books, with ages ranging from 3 to 12, including a book titled Basketball Dreams, which she illustrated for NBA All-Star Chris Paul. With 5 books already on the shelf and 2 coming out later this year, my guest has somehow found the time for this interview. Please join me in welcoming my friend, the illustrator, Courtney Lovett. Let's clap it up for you, Court.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for traveling that distance to get here. That's insane. Courtney lives super far from me, so she made the trip. But I'm super thankful.
Thank you.
So how are you today?
I'm good. I'm coming off of a very busy week, but I am really good, actually.
That's good. I'm glad you could fit this in.
Yeah.
You were telling me a little bit about.
Of course.
She was telling me a little bit about her schedule, and yeah, it sounds pretty intense.
Of course I'm going to fit it in. What you mean?
Okay, well, I'm just saying.
Listen, you my friend. What you mean?
I'm just saying. Okay, I appreciate it. All right. Now, I mentioned this in your intro, that we met in middle school. But I wondered if you wanted to elaborate kind of on how we met. If you can remember. It was a while ago.
Actually, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, oh, snap. When did we meet? Yeah, we met in middle school. And I think the reason why it's such a blur to me is because, like, I don't know. Middle school was kind of like we were trying to just like figure things out.
Absolutely.
So it was.
Absolutely.
So the thing is, like with high school, I feel like more of the groups and the cliques really started to form. But in middle school, it was like a hive mind. It was just kind of like, what is happening?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah, exactly. So I do remember, having classes with you, talking to you, like sitting in lunch with you and things like that. But I don't think I have like solidified memories until high school.
Yeah, I think high school is kind of where we all kind of narrowed it down. You know, Brianna and Kristen were here, so we talked about how we all met.
Yeah,
it was school related again.
Yeah.
Like I said last episode, most of my guests I've known from school in some way, shape, or form. But one thing I always remember about you, were you were super athletic. So basketball, always wanted to show off in gym.
Sure, okay.
She was a 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
I did like the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was a little better than that, man. But yeah, okay.
Listen, it's been a while since I picked up a ball.
I understand it. But one thing we always kind of marveled at you with was like your amazing ability to draw. Like I remember just sitting in class and you would always draw either the Fairly Odd Parents. Yeah, you would do SpongeBob crazy. It would take you like 2 minutes to do that. And we were all just like, how are you doing this? So it led me to think, like, how long have you been drawing or illustrating?
It's funny that you mentioned that because I have been drawing, or rather the reason why I started drawing in the first place, way back when I was like 4 probably.
Wow.
Was because my sister, me being a younger sister, want to copy everything my older sister does. Yeah, I was that girl. She started drawing the cartoons we were watching. And of course, like, I remember when SpongeBob premiered.
Really?
Yes.
I don't even remember
I do remember that. I remember
that
me and my brother and sister were really looking forward to it because we were like, what is this new show? When we watched it, because, like when it's only like a couple episodes, they replay the same episodes over and over and over again until they get more. So we watched the first couple episodes like probably like 10 times. And then at some point, my sister started drawing them. And not just SpongeBob, but all different characters.
Okay.
One of the earliest memories I have is drawing the Powerpuff Girls.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to say you did that. I want to say you did that. It's been so long ago. It's just trying to piece it together. Because I think you made, one time, I can't remember if it was for like chapel or something. So we all went to the same school. Me, Kristen, Brianna. Yeah, but she drew all the cartoon characters on a school uniform. I don't know if it was the end of the year. It had to have been if you did that.
It was,
or was it Spirit Week?
It was Spirit Week, because you know why? They had the cartoon day.
There we go.
They had cartoon day, and I never like actually dressed like costume as a cartoon. But what I did was I always came in a t-shirt. You know what's so funny about that? I don't remember which teacher it was, but they were trying to fake like, oh, that's not a cartoon. I'm like, what? I drew it. What you mean?
You had all the cartoons. It's
exactly. So I remember specifically, actually, this was so embarrassing, but one of the teachers during chapel told me to come up and show.
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
I remember that.
And
you were just so shy.
Weird. Yeah, because I was really shy.
So yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So 4 years old, and you were inspired by your older siblings.
Yeah.
Which they're all talented, by the way.
My brother and my sister can draw as well.
And so that kind of inspired you to play around with it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So when did you know you wanted to take it further than just, okay, I'm going to draw for leisure?
Well, leisure.
What would we call it?
No, you're right. It was definitely leisure. For the longest time, I always, I feel like even after my sister probably stopped doing it as much as I did, I always did it. Like my brother used to play basketball. We would go to his basketball games, and I would bring my sketchbook and stuff with me. Wow, I would never watch him. I felt so bad.
Oh,
but
man.
But I would always bring my sketchbook, and then I kept doing it. That's honestly, you know how they say were you popular in school or whatever? Right. I don't think so. I feel like the only way people knew about me is through my talent.
Was the drawing?
Yeah, is my yeah,
and the basketball for a little bit. Okay.
But anyways, so by the time I got to second grade, my old elementary school, I had an art teacher.
Okay.
And she, caught or saw rather my talent. And she approached me after class. She was like, hey, I have an art school program after school if you're interested in joining. Tell your parents about it and see if that's something you would like to do.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I did. I told my dad, and we did. We contacted her. She led an art program called MTC Art Studios, More Than Conquerors Art Studios.
Okay.
And I went for an interview. I drew in front of her, and also my brother and my sister came as well, because I told her that my sister could also draw. My brother could draw too, but he didn't do it as much as we did, so I wasn't sure if that was something he was interested in. It wasn't until he came the second time where he drew after me and my sister were doing our interview exercise, and he was drawing off to the corner somewhere, and then she was like, wow. My art director, she was like, you can draw too. So all three of us enrolled.
So she snagged the whole family.
Yes. Okay. All three of us.
She drafted you guys early.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. So my sister and my brother, of course, are older than me. So we were in the program. I was in it for the longest, for 10 years, all the way up until senior.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. I was a senior in high school, because once you graduate from high school, you graduate from the program.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah. So they were in it, of course, shorter than me because they're older than me. But
right, absolutely.
Yeah, that's how I did that. And then that's when I got serious about it, because she was fostering my talent. She was teaching me so many different things.
Right.
So grateful for her. I would not have the foundation without her.
Right. Clap it up for the teacher.
Yeah, her name is Mavis Turner. Shout out to her.
Shout out to Miss Mavis.
Yeah. So basically, once I graduated, even before then, I decided that I wanted to do art as a career. That was the one thing I was really good at. Yeah, basketball was fun, but art was something I really, really wanted to do. Okay. So I went to school for it, and yeah.
What did you study in school?
So I went to 2 schools. I went to Towson my first year. You were there with me.
Yeah.
So Towson my first year, just to kind of get my basic art classes out the way, and then I transferred to University of Maryland, Baltimore County, UMBC. Okay. It was interesting. I studied, the program was visual arts with a concentration in animation.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's what I studied, graduated. Bachelor of Fine Arts in 2018, right? Yeah,
2018. Yep.
And yeah, then, I mean, I can say more, but.
Okay, well, let's hold that there.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk to you about this, because Nickelodeon, like I mentioned in the intro, that happened within your college years.
Yes. So
how did that come to be? Like, what was the process? Like, how did you, I know you applied for it, but what was that process? That
happened 2017.
Okay.
The summer of 2017.
Okay.
So, you know what's funny? I don't remember even why I applied for it. And that sounds weird. That sounds weird, but I really don't. I think just because when I came home, of course, my parents were like, you got to get a job. Which I wanted to anyway because I want to get some money. But like the second summer I did get a job, but it was a very small job. So most of the time I was at home and I was kind of like, I'm so bored. I need to do something else.
Okay.
And so I think it was definitely midway through my junior year that I applied because I was hired in early spring.
Nice.
Yeah. So I applied to a few. I applied to Nickelodeon. I applied to Disney.
Hold on, watch your hand.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
I applied to Nickelodeon. I applied to Disney. I applied to Cartoon Network. And a few others, and a few other smaller studios. Because I was just like,
I don't think I knew about Cartoon Network.
Why not? Let me just try. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny because when you go there, they're like right next to each other.
Right next to each other.
Yeah, they're not too far apart from each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So I applied, and it was interesting because I went through 2 different interviews. One was with one person, and then I went with the team I was going to be working with. I worked on a show. It was called Glitch Decks. It was on Nickelodeon for a minute. Then it moved to Netflix. Very interesting show.
Really?
I was just a production intern. Me and one other.
That's still big.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to downplay anything because it is like a really big opportunity, and not many people get that opportunity.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was quite surreal. Like, and it was interesting because California, the business, Hollywood moves so fast. And so I was like, okay, so I got this internship, but how am I going to get there? Or what is going to happen?
Wow.
Because I told my parents about it. I told them about it, I believe, before the second interview.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to say anything like even that I applied until I had somewhat of an idea that I might get it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
Exactly.
100%.
So I was actually in the middle of class when I got the call that I got the internship. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you even think about the class at that point?
No. What do you mean? Absolutely not.
It's like, class is out of here.
No. So I did not. But yeah, I was just thinking like, where am I going to live? You know, what, how long is the internship? It was like a 2-month internship almost. Okay. Probably around that time. But yeah, it was really, really interesting. I got to learn so many different things. I got to meet so many different people. Funny enough, doing that internship showed me what I don't want to do.
Really?
Yeah. And not to say like I didn't want to go into like anything in like the animation industry or just Hollywood or anything like that. I'm still interested in that side of the art world. But no, if anything, the thing is like people have this whatever knowledge people are, the general audience doesn't know that there's so many different positions, so much that goes into making a show,
that is
a
true.
film, etc. Like people usually just think of like, okay, you got the director, you got the writer, you got the producer, you got, cast, and when it comes to animation, you got like the people who animate and the people who do like the character design and the props and things like that. But no, it's way more than that. You got storyboard artists, you have revisionists, you have so many different things, so many different avenues. You have animatic like artists.
I don't even know what that is.
A moving storyboard. So basically,
okay, thank you for clarifying that.
A moving storyboard. So what I learned was that for most, with the exceptions of probably like Disney, and maybe a couple other studios, most, especially television, is outsourced. So the main animation is done overseas. So they do pre-production all the way up to the animatic stage, and then they send that animatic and the assets and everything overseas.
Wow.
And then they do the heavy animation.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So that's a fun fact.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have kind of like a misconception of what goes on behind some of our favorite cartoons.
Fine. I mean, that's the thing. Even being in the industry I'm in now, which is different, it's like I'm constantly learning. There is a learning curve. But yeah, so it taught me that I don't want to do animation. I want to do pre-production.
Okay,
so
you want pre-production,
the character
not
design. Yes,
got you.
So like the character design, props, maybe storyboard. I don't know about that though. But like, or even like the writing.
Okay,
like I got to sit in a few writing rooms. It was really interesting.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that you know for sure you don't want to do? Or is animating just like, all right, no thanks?
I think really that's it. And I'm not even saying like I don't like animation. It's just that animation, like drawing so many different like frames, the constant, it is a sport. Like it is literally physics. It's so much that you have to consider to do animation.
So it's kind of like it's more technical, and that takes away from the creativity. Maybe
now it is creative because there is a certain level of creativity because animation is not reality; it's an exaggeration of reality.
That's a definition for you.
Yeah. So it's kind of like there is a lot of creativity that goes into it to like bend reality in very interesting ways. But yes, you're right. It is very technical. I'm not necessarily interested in that. And also, they don't get paid much.
Really?
They don't. Actually,
so anything, really what I'm hearing is it's the pay that said,
well,
I don't want that.
That's a good motivator. I mean, that's part of it. But I also know that for me, and this is something else I learned, it was actually my junior year too, is I'm not just interested in art. I'm interested in a broader sense in storytelling.
Okay, storytelling as a whole. Yeah. From the inception to putting the story together to developing the characters to then designing the characters. And okay.
Like if I were to give a project where I was just a producer of a thing and just having like coming up with the script or like the creative aspect and not drawing it at all, I would be happy with that too. Yeah. I'm just so interested in storytelling in general.
The illustrator just wants to storytell. I definitely didn't think I would hear that in this interview.
I took a script writing class when I was in college, and it was my favorite class.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would have assumed it was something with arts or drawing.
By far, my favorite class. I had a really good teacher who was actually in the industry at a certain point.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, it was funny. The room, it wasn't that many people in the class. It was probably like 10 people, so we were all sitting around almost like a boardroom type style.
Oh, nice.
And it was like, it really felt like a writer's room. Like we were just like with each project we talked about it. We talked about like pitching, like, you know, giving feedback from people. It was like a really open environment in that way, really comfortable environment. So I was really appreciative of that. And that's when I learned like I wanted to be a storyteller more so, and like I'm interested in things beyond just the art.
Okay, nice. Okay, so that was Nickelodeon. Now, I know that when you came home from Nickelodeon, like you said, you had jobs. And I do know as a friend that was an interesting time because you came home off of Nickelodeon. And, of course, everybody's like, oh, what's next? You know, that's a big, big accomplishment. And so, you know, naturally people would just assume, oh, you're going back there, you're going to do this. But there was like a little bit of downtime where you were like, I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going to go. I just don't, I have no real, I don't want to say no real plans to say you weren't planning, but it was just, you were in limbo a little bit. So can you talk to me about like what that time was like between such a big accomplishment for you and then coming home and it's just like, man, what's next?
It's interesting that you say downtime because it was a full-on depression and I didn't realize it until getting out of it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I came home and I think, well, first of all, I definitely went through a depression my first semester in senior, and I was not maintaining my grades for the first time. I got a grade I was not happy with. And looking back on it, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
But I was just like, just questioning like, okay, where am I going to go? And also, am I ready for that? Am I ready to take that leap into like go out there on my own and things like that? And I think it really terrified me. So I decided to stay and just see if I can work something out here.
Right.
Which eventually led to something, but it took a
Right.
lot of learning, a lot of just kind of getting into some of the roots of like some of my fears and things like that. Which honestly, looking back on it, I'm glad I actually did that. That was a good decision.
Dug into your fears?
Yeah, well, because you know, it helped me grow. Like 2019, I say is like one of my hardest years ever.
You know, it's something I don't know what it is about college, but the closer you get to finishing, it's like the whole world starts shutting down. Because I literally wanted to quit.
And you were in school at that
my
time.
last semester, and I was like, Mom, I'm done. I can't. I don't want to push through this anymore. And you know, thank goodness for the support system at home, because Mom, Grandma, Aunt pushed. Oh, you can get over it and get through it. But when you're in it, it's like, no, I can't, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
And it's just like you carry that, and then the thing is, it doesn't end when you graduate.
It does not.
You
if
carry
anything,
that.
it gets. Never mind. I was going to say it gets worse. In some
No,
ways,
no.
it
I
does.
mean, be honest. This is your experience.
No,
Yeah.
it does get worse. Like, because here's the thing: when you are, for most people, when you're going through school, you know where you're going. Like, you are. You know, you're in elementary school, you're going to middle school. Mm-hmm. You're in middle school, you're going to high school. In high school, you're getting ready to graduate to maybe go to college, maybe not, but just moving on to another level. And by the time you're finished that phase, whatever that last, like, that known phase is, it's like, now you're into the unknown. You are literally an adult. What do you do?
It's like you're swimming in the ocean with no lifesaver.
Not the lightsaber.
And I can't swim, so you know
I can't swim either, girl.
So it's kind of crazy. But
I need to learn how to do that.
You and I both.
Yeah, we should take a class.
We should. Okay. But you're right. Okay, so you dealt with depression during that time. You came home. You sat down. I'm going to call it maybe a self-reflection period.
Yeah, a 2-year-long self-reflection period.
Right. So at any time, did you speak to someone?
Yeah, on and off.
No, not professionally. But you did have someone you confided in.
I should have, looking back on it.
Okay.
Especially since I was under my parents' health insurance at the time. I really should have taken advantage of that.
I say that all the time. You know,
I really
you got until 26, so you're good to go. But,
exactly, but no, I didn't speak to anybody professionally, like any health professional, which I strongly encourage. Please do if you can afford it, especially. And they do have ways in which. You know, they have first free sessions, I believe, for most.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them, especially like the online ones that you can do. I know, like BetterHelp.
Yes, I can't attest to the service of BetterHelp.
Me neither. But I've never tried it.
Right, but that is an option if you can't get the more traditional in-office appointment or anything like that, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
But you had someone you were confiding in.
Yeah,
at least.
So I had a few people at different periods too, because I went
good.
through like ebbs and flows of like I was fine, I was not, and I did, and it's not like I was just sitting at home. No, I was working. Like for a while, I was just doing freelance work, but it wasn't enough money for me to like sustain and things like that. So I eventually ended up getting like jobs in like retail.
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing. As soon as I got out of school, actually, the director of MTC, Miss Turner, she contacted me. She was like, "Do you want to come back and teach?" So I was like, "Yeah, why not?"
That's true.
Yeah. So I then became a teacher, which I still am to this day for 3 years now. More than that. I think like 4 years, 4 or 5 years at this point.
I was going to say, I think it's been a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Time. What is time?
Right.
Like 2020 and 2021, I feel like are 1 year. It was like a very long year.
There was a lot going on during that time. So
Exactly. But no, like I was just kind of, I feel like I was just going through like every day, just kind of like going through the motions.
Right.
I wasn't really feeling. I was definitely learning. Like in the time that I did have freelance stuff, I was actually, getting experience with what it's like to work with clients, what it's like to like manage your, like contracts and, negotiation when it comes to fees and things like that. So
it's like you got some pre-prep work for the time that your literary agent found you.
Also, I learned the value of saying no. That's
there we
important.
It's actually a good place to pause. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. Hold on, sit tight, and don't go anywhere. Okay, and we're back with my special guest, the illustrator. I'm just going to start calling you the illustrator now.
Oh, my God.
Courtney Lovett. And before we took a break, we were talking about her her depressive period after Nickelodeon and finding herself and really digging deep, but also using her freelance experiences to kind of get a first-hand look at what your future was going to end up looking like, unbeknownst to you. Because at the time, you had no clue.
No clue.
And I think this was the coolest thing is Courtney, and I'll make sure that I post your social media so people can see your drawings. Courtney, while she was working retail, while you were having your clients, she was posting some of her art online, some of which had been noticed by celebrities at certain points in time. No, it has. And look, I'm going to flex for you. And when she was doing this, you know, she garnered a lot of attention on social media, and some of that attention happened to be your current literary agent who saw you and then reached out.
Yes.
And in the end, you ended up signing with her agency. So walk me through that from the discovery, she reached out, how you felt, to how we are here today.
Okay. So I would say I have kind of like a prerequisite to that. So before then, I would say, was it a year? Maybe 2 years? No, it was a year. It was 2019. It was a year before then. I got approached by a friend of mine from my church. That I went to, my old church. She had an idea for a children's book.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, I always want to do a children's book. Let's give this a shot. I ain't got nothing else to do. Not really. I mean, at that time, like, client work was slow.
Right.
I was just doing my retail job. So I was like, okay, let's do this. And I knew that it was going to be a bigger pay because it's a children's book.
Right.
So I was like, okay, let's try it out. I did it secretly, too. I didn't tell anybody about it.
I was about to say, I don't know if I even...
No, nobody knew about it until I was, like, almost done with it.
That's why I'm glad you're here, because you're filling in the gaps kind of in the friendship. Because she, as you see, she don't tell us everything. She holds some stuff back. So I'm learning through doing this. So this is great.
Yeah. So I worked on it secretly. I think I only told my brother.
Okay.
And some of my friends. But I never told... I mean,
am I on the friend list?
Yes,
at this point, am I a friend? I don't know.
You are. I was. Let me clarify. Some of my art friends, because I needed help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, fair.
Yeah. Because I wanted to keep it very close to me, very close to. Because the reason why I wanted to keep it close to me was also because I was also receiving a lot of discouragement at the time.
Ooh, wait, okay. What does that mean?
So if
you want to share, I'm not going to force it.
No. Yeah. It's fine. Like I'm not going to say who or what people were doing it, but I got a lot of people saying, like, you need to focus on other things. You need
Got you.
You need to prioritize and things like that. And it was like, I get it. I definitely needed to, and I was trying. It wasn't like I was just like sitting there. I was also trying to apply for different jobs. I just wasn't getting anything back.
So it sounds like you were in the balance of fighting for what your dream and then kind of reality, which is, I think, is a battle a lot of us have.
Which is something that all freaking 20-year-olds deal with, especially coming straight out of school in whatever level you're in. Like, we're all dealing with that questioning phase. So if you're dealing with that, my heart goes out to you. Yeah. Everybody's journey is different. Please give yourself some grace, because we're all dealing with it.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. This right here, this whole thing was a dream she's known about since what? Probably 2016, 2017, and it's 2023 and it's here. Yeah. So if you keep fighting, eventually you can do both. Yeah. You can do both. It may not be as much time as you want to allot to maybe following your dream, but as long as you're moving towards it, it doesn't matter, at least to me.
I mean, look at you with this podcast. You talk about this podcast for a minute.
That's what I'm saying. It's been 6 years.
Yeah, exactly.
From concept, inception, design to execution.
And that's another thing, real quick. Our culture, society, whatever you want to say, moves very, very fast.
Man.
That instant gratification does not exist. It is a myth. Do not feed into that lie. There are quote unquote overnight successes, but you find with those overnight successes, they've been working their butt off for many, many years.
That's the thing, because with social media, not to go off on a tangent, we see the success in 30 seconds.
Yes.
And I was just talking with somebody, I want to say it was Brianna. She had, there's a podcast called Poor Minds. And that podcast
is get on that. I love podcasts. Okay, send me the recs. Send me the recs.
I'll send you. And that podcast is two girls discussing various things, but they're prominent now. And I was telling her, hey, I remember when they were recording podcast episodes in a bedroom in an apartment on the floor.
Yeah.
And now they have like deals with
beginnings.
What is it, 85 South and all kind of stuff. So it takes time. I mean, like, this took 7 years just to get here, but it took longer. So it's going to take some time to build what you want. Don't get discouraged. Don't feel like it's supposed to come overnight. I mean, I fight that myself.
Oh, so, yeah.
But just keep going.
And you're always going to grow even within, once you think you've made it, there's always, even then, you're still growing. You're still doing a bunch of things. I mean, like, you're doing this podcast, you're learning so much about
absolutely
how it is. And I'm doing like what I'm in right now, which is the publishing industry,
right? Which
I didn't really think I would do. I thought that I would go to like work for a studio, which was funny because I resisted it. But I went to work for a studio, and then possibly when I've gotten tired of that, like teach and then retire in whatever way that means.
Right.
Maybe do a children's book or two along the way.
Okay.
What ended up happening was I did not do the studio. I actually ended up getting into the publishing industry. And then, what do you know? I am teaching so early. I thought I wouldn't do that till later in my life, but I'm doing that now. So yeah, it doesn't come quick, and it also comes in very unexpected ways, which leads me to your original question, my agent.
Right.
So I did that children's book for that one client, and then it got released the next year, and I got attention. Some people were asking me for books too.
Nice.
Like some people started approaching me, and I would say midway through 2020, the summer, I out of nowhere, crazily, like I got 3 different agencies in a matter of 2 months contact me.
Wow. 3. I knew about 1.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I went back and forth on it because I was thinking about this, and I still think about this to this day. I'm like, did somebody put my name in people's mouths or people's ears or something like that?
Could have been. You never know who's watching.
It was so serendipitous the way it happened. It was just kind of like, how did this even occur? So just fast forwarding, I didn't go with the other 2 agencies, obviously, but I went with my agent now. Her name is Jem Esco Chambers Black. Jem, love you. You're amazing.
Clap, clap. Thank you.
You're amazing. I would not be where I'm at without you. So I had a FaceTime interview for her. She's in California, and that's where the agency is too.
Okay.
She's in California. I actually got to meet her recently,
nice.
When I went to California. Okay. So it was really fun to meet her in person.
I'm sure.
After 2 years of working with her.
Right, because everybody was working with Zoom and everything else through the computer.
Exactly. So we had a Zoom interview. She interviewed me. I just love her energy, everything about her I connected with. It also helps that she was another Black woman.
Okay.
So I
mean,
better
say it.
All right. You know, listen. I hope one day we live in a world where that really doesn't matter, but it does matter.
I mean, I understand.
Like, it does matter, because the thing is, one of the things that I really connected with is like, she would advocate for me,
right,
in ways, and she will understand where I'm coming from with certain struggles, certain things like that.
Absolutely.
So she's like, look, I'm not going to let people walk all over you in this industry just because you happen to be a woman or you happen to be a Black woman or anything like that.
So she's going to battle for you.
Yeah, and she has. There have been quite a few situations where she has. So I interview with her.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, shout out to you, Jem. I interviewed with her. She gave me a contract, and I sat on the contract for 3 months. Almost 3 months. Yeah, because I didn't sign it until September. I think she reached out to me.
Ain't nothing wrong sitting on a contract.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Read through the fine print.
Read through the fine print as much as you can, and then get a few more people to read through it. And then also contact your lawyer. Please contact your lawyer. Like,
yeah, and if you don't have one, get one if you're a creative person.
Like, or there's like even, don't tell me which ones, but I'm sure there are like services online where somebody can just look through over your contracts.
That's true, but you got to be careful with those.
Yes, be careful.
Sometimes there's some fine print that you
be very careful with that too. But if you have a family lawyer, any type of representation, please get it. Oh my gosh, please get it. It's so important.
Absolutely.
But I sat on it, and so it was like, of course, a legal thing that I sat on too.
Oh, it makes sense. Yeah.
I was also sitting on a decision because I had those voices in my head telling me, you need to prioritize different things. You need to focus on different things.
So that didn't change even though you had a contract?
Well, because it's still a gamble. I didn't know if I was going to get work. I mean, she seemed like she was really good.
Right.
She was relatively newer, which is both a good and bad thing in something like this, because it's a good thing because, you know, since you are only one of few clients, she will go hard for you.
Right.
She's also eager because, I mean, however much work we get, that's money for her too. So it's like that kind of motivation is incentive. Okay. But also, I mean, there's of course the drawbacks of like, you know, she's not as much known or whatever. Right. But the thing is, I'm not going to really get into it, but her background, she is known because of different reasons.
Right. Okay. So, hey, there's nothing wrong with
so I was like, you know, after talking with her and connecting with her, I was like, yeah, let me do that. And so, I actually didn't find this out until later, watching a separate interview with her somewhere else, but apparently the way in which she hires or takes on illustrators is only by like word of mouth. And also
really
she calls it stalking their page, their Instagram page for a while, just lurking and seeing,
which is just watching what people are doing.
Exactly. Not really stalking. I'm exaggerating, but like, see,
I just want to clarify. So
yeah, let's not do anything like.
Yeah, I don't want to get her into, hemmed up here.
Get her in trouble or anything like that. Yeah. But yeah, just saying like what they do.
Yeah.
How often they do it, and she asks herself, can I sell this person?
Right.
Can I get this person work? Because that's very important.
So she manages you and some other people as well, right?
She has about, I think between 30 and 40 clients now.
My goodness gracious.
Yeah, which honestly is a lot, but it's not as many as other agents. Like there are agents that have like a couple hundred clients.
I need to talk to her. How do you manage that?
I ask that question all the time. I'm like, Jim, how do you do this? Especially because she has kids. Now she's married, so she has a husband. But it's like, still, I don't see how she does this. And she also has like side things on this, like side gigs too. I'm like,
that's incredible.
Do you do this?
30 to 40 clients is incredible.
It really is. So yeah, I was one because I've been with her 2 years. I believe that I was probably only like in the teens.
So you got her kind of
early-ish, I think. But yeah, so it was quite serendipitous. And I say that because I don't know. Okay, here's the thing with these industries, especially creative industries. They're all different. Your journey is going to be different than somebody else's.
Absolutely.
But there are certain avenues that overlap. Mm-hmm. And I think that mine is probably out there. Like somebody else probably had my journey, but I know it's kind of uncommon. She approached me out of nowhere.
Yeah, I remember when you said that. I was like,
yeah.
Wait, somebody found you?
Somebody found me, and right? The fact that is like saying that.
Yeah,
found me.
Like it's like,
yeah,
what? But exactly. You have to realize here, it may be small, but you did put the work. If you never posted on social media, if you never took the risk with doing the children's book, you don't know what would have happened. I mean, but you did put the work in, and it just so happened that you lucked up and somebody saw you and said, hey, let me get this girl right now, which is fantastic. Quick question. You had 3 other agencies looking at you. What made you choose this one? Was it basically focused on your agent and how she presented herself, or was it certain things about different agencies that this one that you're with now kind of stood out more?
It was all the above. I mean, it was for one agency I talked to over the phone. Another agency, I was just in email conversation. I actually talked to her as close as I could.
It's a little bit more
in
personable.
person. In person. It wasn't actually in person. It was over Zoom. But
you still,
I got to see her. I got to vibe with her a little bit. We were on the phone for like an hour, maybe longer than that.
Wow. So it was like she was personable, and she was
so personable. I think that's what it was. It's like I felt like I was her friend.
Nice.
After that one conversation.
And sometimes that's all that that matters is the feeling,
Exactly. So I was like, I'm gonna go with her.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
All right, so you've been signed with them for about 2 years, you said. So
going on 3 in September.
On 3. Okay, so has anything about your process, the way that you do things, the way that you illustrate, has anything changed from maybe pre-signing to now you're on the roster?
Yeah. Like I mentioned before, going from animation, which is mainly film focused, to publishing, which is physical book form focused,
right,
was a learning curve. Still is. I'm still learning a lot about it. The publishing industry. There are overlaps in different things that are the same.
I can relate because it's just a brief little dabbling I have with publishing. And writing and So I can imagine from your aspect and your viewpoint on it.
Exactly. But again, like another reason why Jem is so amazing is that she is always open. Like, hey, if you want to get on the phone and discuss something, like if you have any questions about, even if it's not about the work, but just about the industry in general, I got you. Nice.
So you have like kind of can I call her a mentor of sorts?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, I feel like the best agents are mentors. Now, that is not common from what I hear.
Right,
so
you
I
really
lucked out. Yeah, I lucked out.
Well, that's nice to have a kind of a mentor in that industry.
Yeah, because I mean, if you're managing hundreds of clients, you can't
be
that for everybody.
No, it'd be. I won't say it's impossible. Maybe somebody can. It just
that's a lot.
Wow.
But yeah, so there's a lot of different things I had to do. There's the streamlining process is very different. Like the ways in which every publishing house works very different in terms of like the ways in which you submit stuff, the ways in which they want their things to look. And here's the thing, one of the first questions I asked Jim was like, I was like, my style is very, it's kind of leaning more towards animation, but I can also do realism. I can also do these things. And I asked her because I never really went to school for illustration per se. Right. I mean, I know how to do it because of like different. The foundation and things like that. And I will say, like, just real quick, the foundation that I have has allowed me both in school and out of school now to adapt to many different things, including illustration. So I think that's why it was a little bit easier for her to sell me because I have so many styles, because that was my question. Like, would people even be interested in me if I was like kind of all over the place? And she was like, no, that actually will give you a lot of benefit because there's many different books out there with many different styles.
Okay, now I'm hearing about styles, but you're saying you have multiple styles.
Yeah. So
what would you consider yourself?
And what I say by that, I mean, like, I can go with more of like an animation, like SpongeBob or like Fairly Odd Parents, cartoonish, even comic style like that. Or I can go with something that's a little bit more illustrative, like, I don't know, like any of the children's books that are out these days that have more texture, that have a little bit more realism to a degree. Right. So yeah. Okay. The challenge that comes with that though is that because I'm so all over the place, not all over the place, I shouldn't say that, but just I'm so versatile when it comes to styles that sometimes they don't know what they're looking for until I present them with something.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. 100%.
Yeah. So, which is honestly a thing that all creatives deal with, especially when you're dealing with clients. They don't know what they want until you show them something. Right.
Makes sense.
But, yeah, so that was another challenge. I guess the last challenge was the biggest challenge is time management.
Oh, yeah.
I've been in this for 3 years. I still have trouble with this. And you know what's so funny? I'm actually going to give you guys like a little tip here. So
pro tips.
One of the things that I learned is there's 3 things that you need. And honestly, and this is just kind of in any career. Okay. Apparently, that you do good work. You hand things in on time. Yeah. You're easy to work with. If you have 2 of those things, you're all right. You're okay. Even if you're a little iffy on the last one. And the most important one is that you're easy to work with. I would say,
okay, got you.
Like, if you have the other 2 and not that one, that might give you a little bit more trouble than if you were to have any other combination.
Got you. Okay. That's actually good advice.
Because,
for any career.
Yeah, because, like, if you're easy to work with, they can teach you how to do the work.
That's true. I guess you're right. Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, it's a little different in my industry because you got to have some kind of level of talent.
Well, yeah. Let's just,
But, yeah, it's like you need 2 of those 3 things, and I'm still trying to master that third. I do good work, and I'm easy to work with. It's that third one that I'm really.
All right, we're gonna get it together, Courtney. We're gonna get it
together. But yeah, and in saying that, part of what's the way in which I've been able to deal with, or even I would say overcome my time management issues, is to let go of perfectionism. Like having everything be perfect.
Yeah, because you can't keep mulling over it.
Exactly.
It's just going to drag it out.
Exactly. And just being okay with taking shortcuts with certain things.
That is true. Even the people on the cooking channel say that.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and get you those frozen green beans and put it in that stew. You don't got to get fresh. You don't got to pluck it yourself. Just go ahead, get the can and throw it in the stew. I'm serious. Even they tell you, hey, true. We use packaged stuff. It's okay. Adding on to the difficulties, we talked about this before stepping in front of the camera, but you also kind of had like a little physical difficulty too along the way with your illustrating.
So, oh my goodness, this applies to every career, but especially as a creative, take care of yourself. Please. I know it's so easy for you to just kind of like just continue working. There will be times where I'm so into the zone, whether good or bad, where I'm liking what I'm doing or not liking what I'm doing, and I forget to eat.
Not good.
There's
somebody out there looking at it and they do that and they're going, yeah,
I forget to eat.
Not good.
Because I'm just so into my work at the moment.
I feel you though, because I can't talk. Because when I'm in I just miss time when I'm editing. Exactly. So I can't say much of anything.
So everybody has different ways in which they work. Everybody works at different hours too. Like for a while, I worked really well at night. I think it's changing now because I actually have a sleep schedule. That's another important thing. Sleep. Rest your body. Also, this is something I was on my goals that I really need to get better with, but exercise. You need to exercise.
Exercising.
Yes. And it doesn't.
So the billionaires aren't, just messing with us when they say they exercise like 6 or 5 a.m.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, like, I feel like people hear exercise and it's like, it's so intimidating, or a workout and it's like so intimidating. No. I mean, yes, there is a workout, but a simple exercise can be just like, and you can do this like when you take a break. If you like, take the time to take a 15-minute break or even like an hour break, just walk outside for a little bit.
That's true.
Just do that. Or just get up out of your chair, first of all. And secondly, like just kind of just move a different location. It can even be a different location in your home, your apartment, wherever you're at. Just move around. Do not sit all day. And for me specifically,
and go out and touch some grass.
Touch some grass, people. Don't just get on social media. There's nothing wrong with being on social media or getting on your phone, but like, go outside and get on your phone.
Right. Just stretch the legs a little bit.
Stretch the legs.
I need to work on this myself. So
yeah. So that's something I've been really trying to get better, especially now it's getting warmer. So in the middle of the day, I always go for a walk if it's warm enough.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
For like either 15 minutes to just walk around my apartment complex, maybe a couple of laps, or if I have a longer time, I may like take a stroll around the neighborhood.
Okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. If you're creative or anyone in general, take 15 minutes to yourself. Make sure you get some rest.
I had a scare in 2020.
And we're going to get to that.
Okay.
We got to take another break.
Okay.
Hang in, folks. We got to take another break. All right. So before we left, you were talking about you had a scare, a big scare.
I had a scare. So in 2020, when I got when I signed on to my agency, I was in the middle of working on a few different projects.
Right.
So I had one more book that I was illustrating. I was independent from the agency. Oh, okay. And then I was also getting, more. Right off the bat, Jim got me 2 jobs.
Wow.
Yeah. She
was working.
And she's so humble. She's always saying like, oh, it's because of you. I'm like, okay, maybe, but like I wouldn't get where I am without you advocating for me.
Just make sure that she knows she's appreciated. Just keep telling her.
Oh yeah. I tell her constantly and I'm like, oh, you're amazing. But, anyways, in the middle of working on those projects, I was not taking care of myself. Because I was just so in it. I was just in a completely different world. I was like, okay, I got to get these deadlines. I got to do all this stuff. Right. I got to just keep going. Yeah. And I would be like not slaving away, but like just working tirelessly at my tablet and things like that for, cause I do digital work and I was like, just on it for like hours, like 4 hours, 5 hours at a time without taking breaks. And there was a point where I noticed my hand was hurting. When I stopped, because there was a point that it was like that weekend where I stopped working for a good minute because I was like taking care of other things. And I struggled to pick things up with my hand. It just hurting so much.
Wow.
So much.
That's scary.
Yeah, it was scary. So I had a scare where I thought I was developing carpal tunnel.
Wow.
And the thing is, when you develop carpal tunnel, that is really, I don't think you ever get rid of it. You just remedy it.
I think so, but I am not
I'm
a
not
doctor.
Sure. Don't confirm that.
So don't quote us.
But it is, regardless, it is a very difficult thing to deal with. And there's different extremes of it. I do know that because I was looking this up. So, and the thing about carpal tunnel or any type of like hand injury is that it's not just your hand. I think that's the misconception.
Right.
Because
it spreads.
When you are working on something, when you're using your hand quite often, you're gripping. Yeah. That the nerves required for you to grip extend to your arm, even to your elbow. So I noticed that when I did certain movements with my arm or even with my hand, it was like a shot of electricity that would go through my arm. It hurt like crazy. Wow. It hurt so bad. So much to the point where I told my agent, I think, and a few other people that I had clients at the time, I was like, I got to stop for 2 weeks. I have to stop working for 2 weeks because...
Did they let you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, they let me. And even if they didn't, I'd be like, screw you. Like, come on. Like, I really need to like... Well, yeah. I really need to like rest my hand. I have to take care of myself. Right. But... Yeah, so I ended up ordering I didn't go to the doctor, which go to your doctor.
Go to your doctor.
Have yourself checked out. Make sure you have health insurance. Okay. I didn't go to the doctor, but I did buy a brace to help me do stuff. And now,
try to get together.
Right. And nowadays I don't work more than 2 hours at a time.
Okay. So you since then or today, does your hand still cramp up or is it all right?
A little bit, but
not like that.
Not like that.
Okay.
And
gotcha.
Also, anytime I even start to feel a little bit of tension, I stop. And take
that's a smart thing to do.
A 30-minute break. You really shouldn't even wait until you feel tension.
Right.
But sometimes, like, if I'm on a deadline or things like that, I'll be working, like, for 2 hours and then break and then 2 hours and then break and things like that. And still, even though you're breaking, you still have that tension over the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
So that does happen. But it's not nearly as extreme. I'm not working for 5 hours over my tablet, just keep going. And it's not that anymore.
I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the digital art process. I'm sure there's some YouTube videos on it, but I've seen her do this. I honestly don't understand it because she is drawing on an iPad and then it zooming in at certain intervals, changing a line, zooming out, and just constant little tweaks. And I'm just like, I don't know how you do it because that would irritate me. Like I just want to draw something and just be done. But you're so tedious with every little thing. So I can understand how your hand would probably doing all kind of stuff.
A lot of activity.
Throwing up gang signs.
Yep. Right. Literally, whenever I'm stretching my hand, I be literally throwing up gang signs. I'm like this, like, hey, like, but like this, or things like that.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was on a walk the other day, and while I was walking, I kept doing like
different things
in my hands, and somebody actually out of nowhere asked me, like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just stretching my hand.
Well, they probably thought you were having a stroke.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing something like that, it's kind of strange. Isn't it?
Yeah, because it is kind of strange because I was like walking like on a busy street and I was just doing this like with my hand. And
yeah,
like,
I would think so.
Like
show the camera.
Yeah.
That looks odd.
It does look a little odd.
I'm surprised they spoke to you.
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay. I mean, yeah. But just doing like exercise like this just to kind of get the nerves flowing. And I'm also like, while doing this, I'm kind of like stretching I don't know if it's like the nerves or the muscles.
Tendons, all that in there.
And all that
joints,
in there.
I guess.
And I just like even like massage my hands. So I always do hand exercises.
Okay, nice.
I do it before the workday.
Okay.
While I'm eating lunch and also after it's over.
And you're learning to draw with your left hand, right?
Yes, because if something ever happens with my right hand,
you got a spare.
I got a spare.
Look at that. Okay, so how is the art that you're creating now important to you? Now I know, of course, it's client based.
That's a good question.
And I don't know how deep you want to go into your own personal stuff, but even on your own projects, how important is that to you, and what are you trying to leave behind?
I'll keep this short because I don't have to go too deep with it. But so trying to figure out a way to
take your time. Take your time.
Okay. One of the things that I try not to do, I try not to take myself so seriously. But
what?
Yeah.
What?
Shut up. But what I do, however, is take the work that I do seriously.
Okay. And so how do you distinguish between the two?
So not taking myself so seriously is you making fun of me during this interview, which is fun to me. I know you're not, but it's like I remember like I texted you before. I was like, please make fun of me so we can have the fun time.
Like, and I'm sitting on my phone. I texted her back. I'm like, why would I do that? That makes no sense. Like, what are we talking about here?
No, because I do think that there is value in just relaxing. Because if you are so tight and uptight all the time, you're gonna stress yourself out,
and it's miserable.
And it is miserable. It's miserable when you take yourself too seriously.
Absolutely.
So I love it when people come for me. It's so funny to me.
So you've got like an abuse kink, not like abuse as domestic violence. That's not what I'm saying. But she likes stern words. Is that what gets you going?
I like people basically like taking the piss out of me. I think it's hilarious.
And you have to explain that because she also texted that to me, and I'm like, taking the piss where? I was so confused.
Is it like a British like ism or something like that?
I wouldn't know. My British lineage is way back. I have no idea.
Because I do know. I feel like because I do have a few like people, like British people in my life, and I think they say that. I think
okay, so that's
that.
If there's anyone
or
British,
even like I don't know if it's an Aussie thing too, but anyway.
If there's anyone who is British or Australian and who watches this video,
I don't
Can you please explain?
Yo, please, I'm sorry if I offend you. I have no idea.
Right, or is she taking it out of context? I would like to know. Okay, so
anyways, no. So, okay, I don't take myself too seriously, or at least I try not to.
Okay.
But what I do take seriously is what I do.
Okay.
Specifically because I am not just in the publishing industry, I'm in the children's publishing industry, which I am dealing with younger kids.
Right.
Like, I haven't done anything of like that toddler age yet, but starting from three all the way to, so far I've done all the way up to 15.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 to 15. Because I've done middle grade, and that's to 15, I believe.
All right, I'm glad you added that. Because I think I said 3
I could be wrong
12.
about that.
Hold on, girl. Wait a minute. Does the interviewer know more? Dun, dun, dun.
No, okay. I always get this confused.
Okay.
Yes, you're right. It is 3 to 13 because I forgot that ages read up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I was watching your age ranges, and I think it was basically 3 to 12.
Yeah.
That's what I saw. Now,
ages read up.
Okay, so there you go. Wow, Courtney, come on. Know
I know.
yourself.
I'm sorry. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's a learning curve.
Okay, so you take the work that you do important, and to you, that's what is important about what you're creating daily.
Because here's the thing. Those years of your life are very formative. As a young kid, as an adolescence, you are a sponge.
That's true.
You take in the world. Your parents and your closest family members are not your biggest influences anymore. Right. You're constantly around peers. And one of the things that influences our culture so much is the media we consume.
You're absolutely correct. So is there any pressure knowing that how you convey things, it matters?
Heck yeah.
Tons of pressure. Okay.
Tons of pressure. And pressure to a degree of, we also live in a very hyper aware culture too.
Absolutely.
So, and rightfully so. Like people say like this, people today are very sensitive, which, okay, sure. However, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
And there are things that people are very mindful of. So being a creative is difficult in that sense. But if you're not ready for that, you're probably not cut out for this industry.
But I like what you said too. You said mindful. It's like, so now I'm just thinking, like, is it sensitivity or more people becoming mindful of things?
It's more people becoming mindful. I will say this, and this goes to like the social media of it all.
Right.
That those platforms are not built for a conversation or anything like that. I will say like there is a certain nuance that is sometimes missed.
Yes.
But overall, there's a reason why people are quote unquote sensitive these days.
Okay.
They're mindful and they're growing. And we're not just going to, like, our generation is not just going to take the same things that our parents' generation took.
Well, I think that's the point. We're supposed to evolve and get better.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, and props to our parents because they had completely different things that they were dealing with.
Absolutely.
That their parents.
I tell you what, they're a lot stronger than me because I'd be ready to fold sometime. I'm like, what is going on right now?
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. So I take what I do seriously because I know for me, like I said, like I started off drawing cartoons and things I was just seeing on screen. I was consuming media and it came out in what I do. And it influenced me, informed my values and things like that.
Right.
And I actually, years down the road after learning so many different things in the art field, I actually ended up coming back to my first love, which was like cartoons and animation and illustration and things like that. Okay. So I know that looking at that and seeing certain images and certain things were very important to me. I want to do that for another child too.
Nice. So that's kind of feeds into, I guess, the next question. How your art what impact would you like to leave behind? And you kind of touched that just now with you're conscious of how your art could affect the next generation. And so does that play in part of kind of what you want to leave behind while you're still illustrating? Yeah. Sort of. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That kind of embodies it.
To sum it up in one word, I want to leave behind joy.
Wow.
That's it.
Joy.
Mm-hmm.
That was easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I could say so much more, but I just want to keep it there because I will literally be here all day.
That's beautiful. Okay. I got one more question for you, though. Now, I noticed you may not be able to say much on this, but are there any new projects in the works that you can share?
Okay. So, well, so far I've had a couple independent projects. So I've had nice. My first title was a children's book called Jocelyn Learns to Dance.
Yes.
Available on Amazon. There's also...
Quote me. Was it someone I saw, was it Debbie Allen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Debbie Allen was reading it.
Debbie Allen read
it as one of her, the series that she does where she reads just books out loud on Instagram, I think.
I think so.
Okay.
It's somewhere on social media.
Somewhere on social media.
It might be.
Yeah.
I think it should be on YouTube, probably.
And that was one of them. That was one of the selections one day.
See, I told you. Celebrities here. All right.
So that one, I also did another independent called Look What God Made. It's a Christian based book.
Okay.
And then I did when I got my agent, my first project was for American Girl, which was big. Technically in the publishing industry. They're a toy company, so it's a little bit different.
But that was big.
The process was different. Yeah, it was big. So that one, the doll was McKenna. Yes. And the doll's available online if you go on their website. Just look up the name McKenna, MAKENA.
Wait, your doll, the one that you drew, is an actual.
So no, I didn't come up with the design of the doll.
Okay.
So they had the doll made, they had the products made, and that's another thing, because it's a toy company,
right?
And make sure everything was consistent. I had to make sure
it was consistent.
Every single aspect of it matched the toy and the merchandise.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a little difficult.
Oh yeah. There was times where they came back to me, you're like, this isn't quite right. I'm like, ooh, okay, all right, let's try it.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so that was good. And then actually, I got 2 projects. So that was in Scholastic. I got to do a middle grade book called Maggie. Join the club, Maggie Diaz.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a fun, illustrated book, kind of Diary of a Wimpy Kid type style, where it's like text and like little doodles.
Okay.
In it.
That's nice.
Kind of a little bit more detailed than Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I was going to say Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
You didn't hit Tyler Perry in here. I was say I didn't know he had that. Okay. I was like, wow, Tyler is extending his portfolio.
Why Tyler Perry? Okay.
Yeah.
But Diary of a Wimpy Kid is like more like comic book type of style, whereas this one is
for those that don't know,
illustrative. Like it's a little bit more detailed.
Gotcha.
So that one was fun. You also did a sequel. And going back to what I was saying earlier, like some of the challenges was last year I had 3 projects at the same time, and it was too much for that. For the first time, I actually had to outsource and hire help to help me. So
that's okay too.
Yeah, and that's good. Yeah. And again, it's letting go of your ego, letting go of perfectionism and things like that. And now mine is like it's not like a downgrade. She's incredible.
Right. Shout her out.
Yeah, her name is Asia Simone. You're
Shout
incredible.
Shout out to you, Asia. All right.
Yeah, she's incredible. So I had no issue giving her that project.
Nice.
Because I was like, yeah. So Join the Club, Maggie Diaz is the first one. And the second one that Asia helped me do, actually for the most part completed, was Pack Your Bags, Maggie Diaz.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any more works for more, but they said could potentially become a series, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so it's kind of okay.
Yeah, so 2 books right now. That one's coming out in May.
Okay, and then you got Santa.
And then I have... Well, first I have Basketball Dreams. That's out right now.
That's out right now.
So Basketball Dreams is out right now.
And that was the collaboration with NBA All-Star Chris Paul.
Hey,
there we go. Hey, Chris.
But
hey, you never know.
You never know.
Chris, if you need an interview, I got you.
No. Exactly. But yeah, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
I got to collaborate with him. I got to meet him. He's very, very sweet, very nice. He was really appreciative because his family is involved in it.
Nice.
And he really appreciated like the aspects in which I incorporated his family in that book.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that was really fun. And then so that's out already. That came out in January.
Came out in January. Yep.
I actually that book was displayed in New York City for a couple weeks.
Really?
On a billboard. Yeah.
Wow. It was I'm learning all new stuff.
Yeah, it was in February.
Wow, congratulations. That's a big one. Clap it up. We'll clap it up for Courtney right there. Wow.
I unfortunately couldn't see it. If I wasn't out of town in California, I would have gone and seen it.
Nice.
Yeah. But I was out of town at the time it was up. But it was really, really cool too. It was on they were doing a campaign. It was like black, because it's Black History, so like black books or something like that.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's dope.
But yeah, so that's Basketball Dreams, and then Maggie 2 coming out in May, and then later this year I
think I saw October. I think that's it.
Yes, because it's coming out in time for the holidays.
See, I'm doing my research.
It's a holiday book. It's called Santa Has Got to Go. It's a really funny modern take on Santa.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We looking forward to it,
by Derek Barnes, who is really awesome. Such a cool guy. It was really cool collaborating with him. And yeah, so those are the books that I have done where I'm the illustrator only. However,
all right.
I can't confirm anything yet, but
of course,
I did sign on with my agency as an author/illustrator. So
hey, updating the title. Author illustrator.
So I am in the middle. I have my own stories I want to tell and illustrate as well.
So what I'm hearing is be on the lookout.
Yes, be on the lookout. It won't be for a few years.
That's fine, but be on the lookout. You heard it here first.
I do have something right now that is in acquisition or like just being pitched to a few different people.
Nice.
It's a real. I'm just gonna say, not gonna give too much away, but it's a middle grade graphic novel.
Nice.
So it's gonna be following a. No, I'm not gonna say it.
We're gonna save it.
It's gonna be lighthearted and fun and funny.
Okay. Wow. So
with some heart underneath.
Wishing you so much luck with that, and I
Thank you.
Can't wait to look forward. Maybe we'll have you back if things work out
That'd be cool.
and to talk about it.
Definitely.
All right. So Courtney, I appreciate you coming, sliding through. Thank you so much. If you would stay around, we got some questions for another segment called "Inquiring Minds Want to Know," and to you guys, thank you so much for tuning in this week. I hope that by the end of this, you would have subscribed. I hope you liked the video, comment, and share it. And thank you so much for being here. And hopefully you learned something about the illustrating industry from my guest here. And I love you guys so much. I'll see you next week.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.